Evaluating the current situation. Hello, my name is Sergey. I am an admin on my own page about software development. In continuation, I will present a short overview. In the Russian Federation, my engineering and design activities in friendly conditions, for example, in a research institute under the guidance of a scientific leader, are not financially supported. Instead, it's offered to work for no reward during the free of lectures time. This means that a person is being morally destroyed and ready to give his mental potential for some incomprehensible ideas. And where the activity of the software engineer is still in demand, the negative selection is thriving, and the terrorist state is caught up, encased and corrupt, tightening the screws, which leads to unhealthy production relations at the company and leads to mobbing and bullying against employees and beastly attitudes and respectively to the employee turnover. I agree with the quote of the president of the Sberbank Herman Gref in one of his speeches: programmers are not needed, or are needed on the terms of laborers. Those who have the possibility will move to prosperous countries, and those who are not very clever and successful will die or waste their lives languishing. For example, I have been exposed to neuroleptics by psychiatrists and placed in a psycho-isolator because of parents' claims for slacking off, misery and lack of desire to act within the frameworks creates in a terrorist state. The medicine in a new gulag designed for people of low level of development, those with low intelligence and unconfident. For me, it turns out to be useless and destructive even in the medical centers for an additional fee. Patients are treated either with some kind of draws predominantly made on the basis of the slaughterhouse industry, which doesn't have an impact on my organism or vice versa, using torture in the guise of drugs, insults, humiliation and imprisonment in a prison that is issued for a medical institution. Thus, it's necessary to overcome previously acquired health problems expressed in such symptoms as pain, fatigue, stress, and insomnia alone. Surprisingly, the Siddha yogi, who was absolutely healthy and shared the message of prosperity on the internet, was arrested in the framework of a falsified criminal case and extradited to the RF even from another country. Russian nation, which is a two-stage pyramid, is fastened with spiritual states. A set of primitive false patriarchal ideologies of a dual type designed to strengthen the relationship between low-paid, low-skilled servicing staff of the gas-filling state and a caste of corrupt officials. One of the bases of ideological units, spiritual staples. The terrorist state plans to adopt a single state ideology. But what happens when you don't fit into the Russian nation? You are on the sidelines and you are searching the free space to connect with people like you for joint activities. The terrorist gulag as a whole destructive system of relationships has developed. After acquiring the experience of communication and interaction with people who show bad qualities of threats and terrorists according to the gospel that was instilled from childhood. If you have been hit on the left cheek, turn the right cheek to him also. There is a give up and ripples of confidence in society and its citizens. It's not easy to overcome the emerging disgust and distrust, but nevertheless there are still enthusiasts who have some small financial budget for an interesting engineering projects who I am on the same page with. You cannot spend more time with individuals showing negative qualities of threats and terrorists than is required by the fulfillment of the obligations imposed by the society. You cannot be careless and forget about the goals for achievement in life. Otherwise, you will be on the verge of the grave. This is confront. An interesting engineering startup project is not something that manual laborers introduced to do by case managers approved by the KGB who took their place in the social hierarchy as a result of negative selection. And it's assumed that after the monetization of the project, percent of profits will be received. A small financial budget is when the funds are short of a little more than for basic necessities and poor quality food available in stores. USSR 2.0. Further, dairy products with palm oil and other substitutes. All the activity has to be done in the same room with toxic relatives. Next moment, except for other expenses and taxes, checks and issues every month for housing and communal services, and if they are not paid for, you can easily be thrown the street out, or for example in a psychoneurological boarding school where relatives can send you for unwillingness to interact with the surrounding society. In the terrorist gulag is a transportation collapse. To get within the Moscow region to the office, which everyone wants to keep closer to the center of the capital, you need to spend from 4 to 7 hours a day in not very comfortable conditions. The renovation of the transport infrastructure will cost hundreds of political prisoners. Thousands of those beaten and arrested at meetings, and most likely will be carried out by the forces of these very prisoners, which are determined to be soulless and ill-bred, popular by Chekists who are holding 2.5 trillion petrodollars in foreign banks. In the central region of the state gas station is a collapse in the field of rental housing. You can rent an apartment in a panel building dubbed Khrushchevkas with cardboard walls a few kilometers outside the Moscow Automobile Ring Road. One room plus a small room, and this thanks to some acquaintances of relatives. But this also becomes a disservice because it doesn't solve the transportation problem, but it's more than half of the salary. At this point, it seems possible to conclude the brief overview of the aspects of the current situation.